Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So I am done for this year. I am totally finished. I have had enough of what's been happening up there with the weather, with everything else. And even though, guys, I mentioned you in the last video, as a prepper, generally as a person who's trying to be self-sufficient, I have chickens. I try to grow as much as possible during the summer, and of course I had huge plans to grow a lot of things for the winter, especially knowing that the conflicts are escalating and things could be really, really tough. So I've planted extra things, right? We're talking about the winter lettuces, the kale, all those sort of things, and they are actually in the greenhouse. But even now, things are not working. If you guys follow my channel, we discuss the current, affairs, what's currently happening, the whole agenda of trying to stop people growing food because, well, this isn't the end of it, it's the agenda. You've seen what I showed you, how sort of bad things turned almost overnight with things that have been happening. But again, we pick ourselves up and you think, we can do better. We can strive and overcome that sort of thing. But unfortunately, I come to the stage now where even now, trying to grow stuff in the greenhouse, it just not seem to be working at all. Just looking for the past, guys, few months back, right? Or for the past year, right? We had the horrendous amount of rain. So in Wales here, we had about 4 months of continuous rain without literally a dry day. And then, of course, in the summertime, we did have some heat waves. And during those heat waves, quite often, we've seen a grey sky. And I remember doing the video talking about the really eerie feeling, something weird about it. It was really calm. There's no insects, which we're still experiencing. It was really strange. We've barely seen sunshine this year, apart from maybe, give or take week or so altogether. So the year has been absolutely atrocious, thanks to, we know what. But anyway, the whole idea is as well, guys, I'm bringing out this video because after I've done this couple of those videos and they've been really popular, a lot of you have been sharing your experiences. And it made me think about a certain thing. And we are talking, guys, about now the animal behavior. Okay, we understand with the things that we discussed, it's only inevitable it's going to be affecting your, your produce, your plants, your insects, because it's kind of all outside. But we're now talking about the animals, and many of you actually mentioned your pets. And the reason, again, sorry, I'm bringing out this video because I found some unusual things happening with my chickens. So generally, guys, I've started with 8 chickens and I had chickens for 3 years. One of the chickens passed away about a year into me having the chickens, and thereon everything was fine. And I know a lot about chickens. I've done a lot of research about chickens. And as I said, I have been having my girls now for 3 years. But the peculiar thing has been happening that literally for the past 6 months, I've sadly lost 3 of the chickens, all in a very close proximity together. And before anybody starts wondering, guys, there's not a bird flu. The chickens are really well looked after. I'm fully aware of all the illnesses the chickens can go through because, unfortunately enough, one of my first chickens actually pretty much had everything from the sour crop, the impacted crop, to prolapse, to something else. So it's been absolutely horrendous, but she managed to live for a good year after all the treatment. So I am fully aware of the things that could be happening with the chickens and the symptoms and anything to be able to have diagnosed what's happening. But unfortunately, as I said, for the past 6 months, I've lost few of them in a really, really close proximity together, and I couldn't really put my finger on it. There was nothing really there to indicate they haven't had a sour crop, they haven't had impacted crop. It was nothing like that there, and neither was the bird flu. But nonetheless, unfortunately, I have lost them. The other thing as well was really peculiar, that they stopped laying eggs. And I know, guys, now we're just like end of September, and generally chickens started to go through the mold really soon, and they basically just stopped laying eggs. But the whole fact, they actually not been laying eggs for the past like 3 months. And for some reason I thought, oh, maybe, because it's been hot, they may be thinking, well, maybe they get into a certain age that they don't really want to lay eggs, or not as many eggs. I even contemplated blaming this on the food, because I don't know. But it is not normal for the chickens of the age of 3 to stop laying eggs. And again, after putting out the video, guys, where I talked about, the stuff up there, many of you have commented that your pets and animals are changed and you just can't put your finger on it. And only until now recently, my cats, I've got 2 rescue cats at home, and they started to behave really weird. It's almost they became unruly, if that makes sense. They are old, so they're generally mellow cats. They kind of just wander around, they eat, and they go to sleep because that's what they do. But recently, they just started to behave like unruly children. That's the only best way I can really point it out to you. One of the cats literally starts to climb in the door at 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and this is every morning without fail. will get woken up. He will go and he will start meowing really weirdly, like really weird, like a deep sort of howl meow type thing, and he'll just climbing up the door. And it's really horrendous because we can't get any sleep. But this is beyond the point. The point is there are massive changes, and only, guys, by sort of me doing those videos and then you communicating as well and sharing your experiences, where we can potentially then to maybe not saying find a resolution, but find answers what it is actually happening. As I said, guys, we're aware of what's been happening. It's been kind of publicly made aware, but when it gets to the stage where it's suddenly affecting your animals in a really peculiar way, and then animals are dying. And I know, guys, there could be coincidences with chickens, birds, that it does happen. I totally understand, but I can assure you that the fact that having 3 lost in the 6 months, and 2 of them were actually within 3 weeks of each other, that was really harsh, and it's certainly not normal. And this is the only way, guys, when we talk about those kind of things, as I said, hopefully we get to maybe find an understanding what's actually happening. Because if suddenly now our animals starting to change their behavior drastically, what's potentially affecting them, and is that potentially something going to be affecting us? So anyway, going forward with the garden, guys, as I said, I had a really horrendous gardening year. The only thing that really did well, that was my tomatoes, and this is purely, I think, because we had a little bit of warmth early on, and I have actually seeded my tomatoes indoors in February. So I had literally my mini greenhouses in the front room, on the back room, sorry, where it's a bit warmer, and I started them early, and hence I managed to harvest 50 kilos of tomatoes. All I had from the rest of it was approximately like 15 cucumbers. I had to give you 10 kilos of plums from a tree. I have probably 4 or 5 kilos of the smallest apples going this year. Literally, they're absolutely tiny. I had a few strawberries, and we had lettuce somewhat in the beginning. But now, that's it. That was there. For all the effort it goes into put into the growing your fruits and vegetables, this is all I got. And I'm grateful for the tomatoes. Don't get me wrong. I've preserved a lot. I made some sauces. But it is just heartbreaking. And I'm sure, like many of you, come to the stage where you start to question whether it's actually worth your time doing this, considering that everything's out there is against us doing it. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish the growing year for now, but I'm gonna seriously rethink again what's gonna be happening on the outside. So first thing we're now done is to literally cut the hedging really, really low. We had quite a tall hedges for security. Not there is a need for this. We've got mountains over there. But this is my first thing. We're going to trim it down, take everything back. And then during the winter time, beginning of the spring, I'm thinking of having some sort of structures then to potentially put above and protect what I'm growing. Because, as I said, guys, the way things are going, we need to think really, really seriously about being self-sufficient. I can't even say I've become self-sufficient. It's probably really impossible in a little space that I have. But to be as less dependent on the system, there is always a goal. Even if you just grow lettuce and you can eat lettuce free without buying it covered in the pesticides and E. coli and salmonella, that's going to be a win-win already. You're going to get far more benefits and nutrients from that rather than paying £1 for a lettuce head. So anything is better than nothing. But that's that, guys. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this forward because after seeing a few of your comments talking about animals, I now sort of put 2 and 2 together and thinking, actually, this is not just me. Things are clearly changing in more way than just affecting our stuff that we grow. So there we are. Anyway, of course, guys, the point of this video is please comment down below. Last time the video has gone absolutely viral. It's gone pretty much all over the globe. I want to know whether you have seen or experienced any issues with your pets, with your chickens, especially animals that do go outside, whether you have any experience in that, any knowledge, anything else. Please, of course, comment down below. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Don't forget, thumbs up, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye.